The playoffs. Loser goes home. I think it's safe to say winner of this game has to be the favorite to win the state championship in the state of Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody in Northeast Texas has had this one circled probably since last year, and especially over the last few weeks as you started to look and see that this is most likely going to be a round 3 matchup. You can tell people are excited. Tickets are sold out to this game. It's already starting to fill up in here, and I think this is going to be one of those games that people talk about, oh, yeah, I was there that day when this happened.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've heard of a high school game actually selling out and being able to pull it up and actually say, no, you cannot get into the stadium. The line, you probably can't see it over our shoulder. There's one way in, one way out of the stadium, and this line has to be backed up miles, coming in one car at a time. If you're on the way or you're eating dinner, you need to head over here now to get in. There's a long line to get in this stadium. There's a wait actually to get inside the stadium, but just the car line to get in is absurd right now. I'm looking at a motor coach over here that is pre-gaming and out here cooking, and they're not the only one. I mean, this is a big deal. So if you're on your way, don't stop and get something to eat. Come here right now.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think that it's going to be important for both sides for their fans to show up. So hopefully those tickets that were sold, we get some butts in the seats. And the excitement that I'm hearing from the Pleasant Grove side, just based on the text and posts that I'm seeing on social media, you definitely have the Pleasant Grove side behind this Pleasant Grove squad. But when you've got Carthage coming in on a 28-game winning streak, Coach Surratt has his 9th state championship and is going for a state record 10th. There's a lot on the line for today's game, and the fact that Pleasant Grove hasn't quite yet got over the hump to get that win against Carthage, today is going to be a storytelling day for those on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, just the implications for this game. I mean, it would be better if this game was played at the state championship, but I mean, these are the two best teams in 4A. And it's going to be an exciting day for football. Notable wins on Carthage's side. Right off the bat, beat Kilgore, who's still in it in 4A Division I, 30-27. Pleasant Grove went ahead of Brock late, first game of the year. But outside of that, neither team has played great opponents until today. So all that's kind of out the window. We know Carthage is good. We know Pleasant Grove is good. What is it going to take to win this game, Ben?
They're going to have to get after Jet Surratt. They're going to have to make him throw it to our secondary, maybe once, maybe twice, and they've got to control KJ Edwards. KJ Edwards is a Texas commit. They run it up the gut and they bully you. We've got to use our talented defensive line to slow him down in the secondary, and our defensive line's got to get after Jet Surratt.
Yeah, I think the physicality in this game is going to be paramount for both teams. I'm not sure either team has played another team that's going to hit you in the mouth like this. When you get into the playoffs, a couple of things have to happen. You have to be really good, and you have to get lucky a few times in games if you're going to make these runs and go on through. And sometimes you are going to line up against somebody, and maybe it's just the really good is going to take over because you're going to outman them. In this game, I think you're going to be close enough to evenly match that somebody's going to have to get those turnovers, have some things go their way, and just hope the ball bounces in the direction that you want it to go.
In a game like this, I mean, one small mistake can cost you this game and ultimately the state championship today. This is the best team Carthage has had. I know they won state last year, but in 4A, they haven't lost to a 4A team since 2017, if I remember correctly. They've lost to a 6A and a 5A.
They lost to China Springs in 2021.
Yep. Okay. All right, we'll scratch everything I just said. But we know they're really good. PG, Jay, what has to happen on offense?
Well, offensively, we've got to make sure that we take care of the ball, and the line is going to have to protect Akari long enough for him to be able to find an open hawk. I expect there to be quite a few, probably maybe as many as 6 design run plays for Akari today. And outside of that, he's probably going to have 4 or 5 that he's going to turn into a running play just because of that pressure. That Carthage defensive line, I don't think Pleasant Grove has faced a defensive line as good as Carthage. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup. That's going to be the difference in the game for me and the defensive backs for the Pleasant Grove Hawks. I anticipate, Jet to try to find some weaknesses there. I just don't think they're there.
Chris Johnson just chimed in. He thinks Carthage is going to run away with it. I think it's one of those games I don't believe anybody's going to win by more than 14, but those 14 points are going to be caused by a turnover, just a big momentum swing. Pleasant Grove, played for 3 state championships since 2019. I mean, a winning tradition on both sides. But, it's like you said earlier, until somebody knocks off Carthage, you got to give them the nod.
Absolutely, and I think when you go back to, looking at the offense and what that's going to take, so many times this year we've seen Akari be able to keep plays going, finding somebody down the field. How many times have we seen Jackson Gibson keep moving on routes and then break off something and them catch up with each other? That requires Akari to have a little bit of time, and that's going to come back to what Jay was talking about, that battle in the front. I'm not sure that we've played a defensive line like Carthage is going to bring. I'm not sure Carthage has played a defensive line like Pleasant Grove is going to bring, and so which one of these quarterbacks is going to have a chance to do things and put some pressure on those secondaries? And that's where I think the biggest difference is going to be is how does each team deal with that? You can deal with that through your play, your line play, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, and then also schematically. Do you set some things up to try to get the quarterbacks out of the pocket a little bit to give them some time to do something? And I think we will probably see each squad do some things that hasn't showed up on tape all year long. These coaches are both very smart. They're tacticians of the game of football. And I think we're going to see some tendencies from each one of them that maybe we haven't seen so far to try to do exactly that and give these quarterbacks a chance to extend some plays and get some stuff going down the field.
Well, I think the biggest thing is going to be preparation, and the coaches can say what they want to, the players can say what they want to, but both of these teams have been preparing for this game far longer than 1 week.
Absolutely.
So each team, they've had this circled, and I've talked to a couple of the coaches earlier, and I do think that possibly in the past, coming up against Carthage, there was a lot of hope to be able to pull out a W. One of the core beliefs that I believe Pleasant Grove has really focused on this year is the word I just said, and that is believe.
Yep.
So that belief, core, that I believe is what Pleasant Grove has today. They believe that they can come out here and beat these Bulldogs.
Yeah. I think both teams are bringing a lot of confidence into this game, and that's why I expect it to be a close matchup one way or the other.
Well, you look at Pleasant Grove's defensive line. If the big Bulldog offensive line cannot control Jamon Wheeler, Barry Rochelle, and Lance Jackson, it could be a long day for them. They've not seen anything like that. Just like you said earlier, we've not seen anything like theirs, but ours is as good or better as theirs are, and that bodes well for us.
I think it's going to be an exciting game. We got out here about 11:30. There were already people outside the stadium. The coaches and everybody were showing up then. This staff here at Pine Tree has done a great job. I was able to talk to some of their facilities guys. They're excited to have this game here. They've really done a great job to get everything prepared. You got a stadium that holds just under 7,000 people. By the time you add in all the passes and everybody that comes to that, I think we're going to have probably close to 7,500 people in the house today. They're prepared for that. They're ready for that. And I think that they have done a really good job to create an environment today that's going to be an exciting time to watch football. Playing in the afternoon is a little bit different. Of course, Pleasant Grove does have practice every day in the middle of the day. This is when we do, a lot of practice and that kind of stuff. And then the same thing with the teams. They're used to playing in the afternoon. That's when school happens. And so I don't know that that's going to make a big difference today. It's not cold. It's not rainy. Environment, the excitement of the game, none of that is going to have a negative bearing on it. It's just now we got to get out there and play some football between the hashes.
I'm ready for game time. I'm ready for them to start right now. But I mean, I do think that the excitement is in the stands. I mean, you probably have already maybe 3/4 of the stand full for Pleasant Grove. So, and I know that there's folks that took advantage of stopping at Morgan's favorite pizza joint. Yep. I did have a text there that said that place is completely packed.
Pizza King?
So Pizza King is.
Well, we're gonna have us a Pizza King party after this game. They're bringing it to us.
So I think you do have a lot of Hawks here, and of course it was good to see that Carthage sold out their side, about an hour and a half before game time. So,
but a lot of those Carthage tickets are Pleasant Grove fans.
Yeah,
so you're going to have Pleasant Grove fans on the home side tonight. I think we're going to have more people here.
And hopefully we'll see that going on. We do want to remind you all that at 2 o'clock at kickoff, this game will be brought to you on the NFHS network. It will not be right here on Facebook or the Texas County Game Day YouTube. They pick up the rights to those games. We can get into the playoffs, and so you will have to subscribe to NFHS for at least a 1-month subscription to be able to do that. And so if you start looking for us at game time, just know that you do have to go there. Joined by head coach and athletic director Josh Gibson. And Coach Gibson, games don't get much bigger than this unless you're playing them at Cowboys Stadium. And just talk to me about how excited you and the guys are to get this thing rolling this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a game that I think since last year we thought would come to fruition, and we worked for it, and here we are now. And it could not be a better situation. Two undefeated teams, both remained undefeated. Both had a tough game the first game of the year, and they won by 3 points on a block extra point that was the difference in their game, and we come from behind and get Brock. And I think relatively for both of us, it's been an easy